So stop me if you heard this one. Why do you care so much about what other people believe? My answer? I don't. There is nothing more boring to me than the biblically illiterate conglomeration of Enlightenment ideas and misquoted Jesus that makes up most Christians' philosophy. Nothing less interesting in what picture fills people's minds while they pray instead of doing something. Nothing so meaningless as the unscientific, uncurious suppositions of what happens when we die. What I do care about are the consequences of those beliefs. See, the reason religious people ask us that question is because when they picture religion, they think of little old ladies and soup kitchens. And when we picture religion, we picture actual religion. You know, you and I, we know that the second that little old lady walks in the door, there's some asshole waving a collection plate under her nose. We know that the sermon she's going to listen to might just convince her that the loving thing to do is disown her gay grandchild. And we know for sure that no matter what sect, in what part of the country she is in, she will be hearing her sermon in a tax-free building dedicated to not truth. So you and me, we've read the news stories about the soup kitchens the Christians are so fond of. We've read the news stories about the 4-year-olds being refused food if they don't sit still and be quiet during a 30-minute mandatory prayer. We know that those soup kitchens spitefully close down if local laws force them to feed hungry people, even if they're gay. And we know that if soup kitchening gets boring, these facilities happily turn almost overnight into so-called child welfare centers who give children separated from their parents at the border to exclusively straight Christian parents for the low price of $10,000 a pop. When we think of religion, we don't think about the malformed watches you jerk off version of Santa that some asshole has in his head. We think of the untraceable, untaxed money behind every law ever passed against gay marriage in this country, behind every heartbeat anti-abortion bill, behind every trans bathroom ban, behind the buses that drove the literal Nazis to fucking Charlottesville. There's not an empowered act of evil you can name in this country that hasn't been directly and openly supported by religion. And that's just today, right? Non-existent, God forbid, you and I look back into history. Whatever you do, don't think about the women who burned at the stake for being witches, for the civilizations destroyed for believing the wrong beliefs in the eyes of believers, for the slaves who were stolen from their home and worked to death because someone believed it was God's command, complete with biblical citations. So, next time you're at a dinner party and dare to commit the oh-so-foest of pas and mention that no, Virginia, there isn't a Santa Claus, and someone asks you why you care so much what other people believe, you have my permission to ask them something back. Full of the knowledge of the mountains of bodies that religion sits upon, in the name of every dead gay or trans kid forced to suicide, of every woman lost in her 13th forced childbirth, for every sodomite, blasphemer, apostate, or otherwise other that religion cast aside because it could, you ask them. The question isn't why I care about what others believe. The question is why you don't.